I'm Phoenix Alexander, and I want to tell you about a shocking thing that happened to me back in 1988. I was at a shopping mall in the Seattle area, and I just finished a nice day of shopping. I got in my car and I was driving home. I was in the parking lot at a four-way stop, and I noticed that the car to my left was filled with three young men. Actually, it was a truck, and they were staring at me. And the reason they were staring at me is the driver, who was slouched in his seat with one hand on the steering wheel, had the other hand out the window with a gun pointed at my head. Suddenly, I was in code red. My life was being threatened, and I had to respond. Instantly, I was outraged. Instead of crying or screaming or begging, I looked directly at him and I said, "What is your problem?" And he looked at me like I was crazy. And he looked at his buddies, and they were pretty shocked too. And then they drove on. I believe the reason I wasn't shot that day, even though I was unarmed, is because I used my voice to show my fighting spirit. I would rather live or die on my own terms than cower in fear. I refuse to be intimidated. I am an insider. I'm a survivor of surreal trauma and violence. I have spent part of every day from the time I have conscious memory making sure that I'm safe and overcoming the aftermath of the actions of my perpetrators. I know what it feels like to be scared and helpless and hopeless. And that is a feeling familiar to many survivors. But the beauty is, I no longer feel that way. I feel empowered. I developed an unshakable determination to limit the power of the abusers in my life. And not just survive, but to go from victim into victor. My mental toughness was born of injury and pain and suffering and a determination to heal. I like what George Herbert had to say. Living well is the best revenge. This is an excerpt from my personal development show called The Way of the Phoenix. The episode is Turn Trauma into Triumph.